In this video, we're going to look at a database called PubMed, which is the primary database for medical and biomedical research, but also contains some good journals and articles on healthcare administration. And to get to PubMed, we're going to start, as always, at the Moodle page, scroll down to the Library Quick Start area, and click on Graduate School. Okay, that'll bring us to our Grad School Library Guide. From here, let's jump over to the MSM HCA tab. And on this tab, under Medical Databases, our very first link is to PubMed. So let's go ahead and click that link. And here we are at PubMed. So we have a search box up here. There is a link to help over here, and PubMed is a little bit of a tricky database to use. So if you get lost, always feel free, of course, to get in touch with me. Back on the Grad School Library Guide, my contact information is always over on the right. But within PubMed, if you'd like to try to figure it out yourself, feel free to use this help link, which can be quite helpful, as it implies. Okay, so in PubMed, when I want to start searching for my topic, which is my pretend capstone of integrating local foods into a hospital food service supply chain, PubMed likes you to break up your topic into its components. And if you're looking for more than one word, a phrase, put it in parentheses. So I'm just going to start using my words for my topic, and let's see if we can figure out PubMed's words for my topic. Okay, I'm going to try local foods. So there's one phrase. If you're going to connect phrases with operators like and, or, and not, PubMed likes you to capitalize those. So I want articles about local foods and hospital food service. And let's just start with that. Go ahead and click search and see what PubMed serves up for us. Okay, so we have 91 results, and looking through them, this first one actually looks pretty relevant, from plow to plate and NHS first. Scrolling through them a little bit. Here's another good one, patient care, local cuisine coming to a hospital near you. So it looks like we have some promising articles. So let's try to find out what words PubMed used for those articles. I used local foods and hospital food service. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. So we get a little citation. It's in a journal called Health Estate. Here's our date, volume, issue, and pages. And then our article title, our author, and an abstract, which is very helpful in helping you just at a glance figure out what an article is about. What I'm interested in here are these so-called MESH terms. MESH stands for medical subject headings, and if we click this plus sign, we will see the actual terms that a human being who indexed this article assigned to this article. So they picked these from the big MESH list. And looking at these, it appears that food service, hospital is definitely a term that I'll want to use in my searching. Agriculture might be another one. You notice there's no other term that really corresponds to local foods. And you'll find that to be the case in your searching. There won't always be a term that corresponds exactly to one of your topics. So in those cases, it's fine to just search for those using your own words. As long as those words show up somewhere in the article title or abstract, you'll still pull back those articles. But using the MESH terms or other types of subject headings when they exist is a good strategy for pulling up the articles that really deal with your concepts, your topics. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Food Service Hospital. I can either click PubMed to do a new search for articles that have this heading. In this case, though, I'm going to click MESH. This is actually going to bring us into the MESH database and show us this heading, which again I'm going to click on. From here we can do a lot of fancy things. We can choose a subheading if we're interested. So maybe at some point I'll be interested in trends in hospital food service. I could focus just on that if I wanted to, or just on the economics. And depending on which way you go in your lit review, this can be a handy way to help you narrow and focus your topic. For right now, I'll stay very broad with just food service, hospital. Another handy feature is you can restrict it to a major topic, and a major topic is one that the article is centrally about, as opposed to something that might just show up for a paragraph or two. If you find a good subject heading, I would restrict it to the major topic. I think that's very handy. You have the option of not including mesh terms found below this term in the mesh hierarchy. So what on earth does that mean? Well, if we keep scrolling down, you'll get a glimpse of exactly what the mesh hierarchy is. So the medical subject headings are divided into family trees of a sort. They start very broad and they get narrower and narrower. So in this case, you see that food service, hospital is a subset of the articles in PubMed on food services, which in turn have a broader subject heading of food industry, and so on. This particular term shows up in a few different family trees. So here it's under technology and food and beverages, here it's under healthcare, down here it's under dietary services. It shows up a bunch of places. And if we want to not include narrower terms, we could do that. So for example, if we checked that, we wouldn't get any articles on menu planning. And I'm going to leave this unchecked for now, but you do what you think is best for your search. Okay, so if I want to then go ahead and do a new search for food service hospital as a major topic, what I do is hop over here to the PubMed search builder and just click Add to Search Builder. Once everything over here is the way I want it, click Add to Search Builder. It will build the search for me, and I'm going to go ahead and click Search PubMed. Okay, so it's done a new search. You see we have a lot of articles, 4,098 articles. So there are a number of ways we can narrow that down. First of all, you'll remember we saw the term agriculture, and one way to narrow this down is just look for, add some words. So I'm just going to throw in agriculture without any fancy syntax or anything. And let's see. Wow, so that brings us all the way down to 15 articles. That's a pretty good limit. And some of these are looking pretty promising. Nutrient analysis of menus, and up above, food supply healthier for patients and the planet. That could look really good. Okay, so that's one way. And then say I want to actually track down one of these articles. So let's choose this larger serving of greens article. Okay, this one is not a free full text article. If it were, there would be a link over here to it. What you see instead is the Find at Marlborough link. So I'll go ahead and click that. It's going to search across all of Marlborough College Library's subscriptions. And in this case, it's telling me that we do have this article in some of our other databases. In fact, it's in almost all of our other databases. It's a very popular article. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I'll just pick the first one. And in an ideal world, which it appears we're in, I'm brought right to the article in this other database. So here is the article page, and here is the full text of the article. Okay, so this worked out well. From here, I can email this to myself. If I'm using something like Zotero, which we'll have a separate video on, I can save it to Zotero so that I can come back to it later. In this case, just because I'm feeling flighty today and I don't want to forget this, I'm just going to email this article to myself. And that way, I now have it forever, or at least as long as I have my Marlborough email. Okay, so I've grabbed that article. I'm just closing a couple of tabs to get back to PubMed. And just for the heck of it, let's look at the mesh terms for this article. And again, we're seeing food service hospital, menu planning is another possible one. So what I've hoped to show you here is just a little bit about navigating through PubMed and using those mesh terms to try to find the best words for your topic. Okay, as always, get in touch if you have any questions. My contact information is right on the Graduate School Library Guide page. And good luck with your searching.